Cameras went off and I caught it just in time and loaded it again. I'm so proud of myself.
Me too.
All right, they're now, what? Okay, never mind. It was talking to me. Okay, hello, welcome. It's Monday. No, that's not September. It's still August 31st.
It's the last day of August in our 5-year metaphysical world.
Is it still 2020?
I don't know. I think April's kids are going to college now. I don't know what's going on here.
Did April just have a grandchild last week? Didn't you become a grandmother last week?
Right.
All right, let me do the intro.
Talking babies there.
Y'all quit effing with me. I got to do the intro. Good God. We are the Spiritual Neighborhood. The Spiritual Neighborhood is a grassroots community project of the Council of Families for Children, a 501c3 nonprofit. We believe that sick can be fixed, so we support services that improve the quality of life for the body, mind, and spirit for the integration of a healthy, happy human. And in our show's case today, it's a healthy, happy family union. Because we have April Chalk, and I know her real last name now. So I can find her on Facebook. Don't look under April Chalk, you won't find it.
Don't give away all the secrets now.
I know
Not
it.
all the secrets.
I know it. It's my show. I just shut up, right?
Yeah, just
shut up.
Yeah.
So April's going to talk about surrogacy, and what are we talking about in specifically? What the hell?
Actually, I have a question for you, April.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that does keep circling around is what makes a good surrogate? What are the...
A woman with a womb.
guidelines?
I got the answer. Wait, let me answer it, April. Let me. A woman with a womb.
That's part of it. A working womb is always good.
Yes. It needs a lot of womb. Her womb needs a lot of room. It needs a lot of room in there. A womb with a room.
Okay. Just
Good luck, April. I'm here for you.
Okay. What would be? What's the answer to that question?
So, there's a lot of basic requirements to become a surrogate that the fertility clinics require. However, there's actually a lot of just kind of common ones that we also look for. But I'll go over the basic ones first. Usually it's a BMI. The body mass index needs to be between a certain range. That range kind of varies on the clinic. Usually it's around 20 or 21 to no higher than 30. Some clinics will take up to 31 or 32. It just kind of varies on the clinic. The other one is age range. So the age range they really want is between 21 and about 36 to 37 is kind of the max.
Oh, that's really high. I didn't think it'd be that old.
Yeah, some clinics will actually take some surrogates up to 40, depending on the circumstances.
That's too old.
So, yeah, there's
that's okay.
It really depends on the clinic. So the other things are they must have had a recent birth. So recent being 6 years or less.
Oh wow!
So most clinics prefer a birth that's a woman who has had a birth within 6 years, a healthy birth, and also. Some miscarriages, I know a lot of women are on like birth control and they get pregnant by accident and they miscarry. So a lot of times what happens is they'll kind of overlook those if they were like on a medication that, caused the miscarriage or whatever, as long as there was a healthy birth between the miscarriage and the actual signing up to be a surrogate. So they don't really want more than 2 miscarriages. So ideally, they really want somebody who has had 2 or less miscarriages.
How do they verify that, though, if a person doesn't tell the truth?
Through all of the medical records. And so those will definitely be told through the medical records. So that's one thing that we do is when somebody comes to apply to be a surrogate, their initial application, we ask a lot of those questions that I just put out there, like, have you had miscarriages? When was your last, birth? How many births have you had? Have you had a C-section? Because sometimes intended parents do not want a surrogate who has had one or more C-sections.
Why?
Sometimes they'll say no more than 2 C-sections. Because the risk is a lot higher for things to happen or complications.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
they really want as few C-sections as possible.
But then the baby's
so
head looks
Basically
better.
saying somebody who's had a child young and limited C-sections.
Right, and limited miscarriages too. Yeah, and
Right.
it really depends on the intended parents. Sometimes they prefer the women to be single. Sometimes they prefer the women to be married. It's just the intended parents' preference in regards to stuff like
You're
that.
kidding.
What difference
Yeah.
does it make to them? What is their thought process on why they would want that?
Some intended parents have gone through the process and they're like right up to signing the legal contracts, which means the surrogate has been medically cleared all the way through the fertility clinic. And then once the contract happens, a lot of times the husband or the partner will get scared and talk the surrogate out of it.
Oh.
So some intended parents come to us having that been their history, and they'll say, I want somebody who is single, who is not with anybody. I don't want, judgment to be from anybody else. I want them to be making their own decisions. So that's kind of where that comes from. And then some people want them to have a partner to go through this process with. They want to be, make sure that they're in a stable marriage or whatever. So that's kind of where their thought process is coming from. So you kind of get both ends of that. But back to the clinics, as far as what the clinics require, also limited medications. There's some medications, any type of mental health medications usually will cancel out any type of surrogacy opportunities, just because a lot of those medications are very unhealthy during pregnancies and not acceptable during pregnancy. And they want to make sure that they are able to maintain a stable mental health during the entire pregnancy without being on medication.
Okay, so I have a funny question.
That makes sense.
You work heavily with the LGBT, did I get all the letters, LGBT community? So in the movies and in the media, we always see that, the gay couple is going to adopt and it's usually the surrogate's a friend of theirs, or they become friends and they take them into their house while they're pregnant, and then they all become a 3-way family type thing. Is that a normal experience, or is that a bunch of Hollywood stuff?
It depends. So there's a bunch of different ways that people go about forming their family. And I will say, if it's with a surrogate, 9 times out of 10, that surrogate is not going to move into their house. I have had situations where the intended parents have invited the surrogate because the intended parents lived out of state from the surrogate, and they really wanted their baby to be born close to home so that the family could help them. Because it was mainly a culture thing for them. And they didn't want to have to fly out here, stay out here until the legal process was done. They really wanted to fly the surrogate out to them. And the surrogate was willing to stay out there with them for about a month and a half, which was great. However, that case didn't go through simply because the intended parents, I think, got cold feet. Because their family started moving in different areas of the country. And so the surrogate has been rematched with somebody else now. But it was just a really weird situation. The surrogate was all on board, to move out there, which was great. I personally, if I would become a surrogate, I would almost have a hard time doing that because I have children at home that I also have to take care of. So having to leave for a month and a half would be a little bit of a harder decision for me to make. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it could happen like it does in the movies, but those circumstances are probably very few and far between. Yeah.
It's
It's definitely cool to see them have really great relationships. I currently have an intended parent, man and a wife, and they are matched with a young lady who lives not too far from them. And they have been there to help her with her shots. They have been there. She's a single mom. They have been there to help her, take her out for lunch. They take her to her doctor's appointments if she needs to. They have an amazing relationship.
That's cool.
That's been a really great experience for them.
That's like the ultimate package right there, where everybody comes together for the betterment of the baby.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that's another thing to touch on in regards to kind of the expectations or how to be a good surrogate would be communication. Communication is huge when you're going through this process, not only with the intended parents, but with the clinic and with the agency, because we as the agency tie everybody together. So the clinic speaks to us, the IP speak to me, the surrogate speaks to me. So it's really important for a surrogate to be willing to communicate really well. And I've had surrogates go through the whole entire process, get right up to matching, and then they just literally go MIA. And we're like messaging them, texting them, hey, where are we at with this? And they'll just leave. They'll get cold feet and just boop, out, gone.
I can understand that though, because I'm trying to think about how your personality would have to be made up to be able to be a good surrogate. And so you've got to have a lot of empathy because you care about the needs of this family. Right. But at the same time, if you have a lot of empathy, how do you have this child in your body, whether it's yours or not, and not get attached? What a thing to have to seesaw and balance. My gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think I could.
It's definitely a journey for them. You definitely have to have the right mindset and the right heart, to be able to go through this. But it's to be there for the intended parents that you're working with, as much as they are for you, I think is really important, because it's not just a journey for the surrogate. It's not just a journey for the IP. It's a journey for both of them to kind of come together and make this miracle happen. And so, it's a pretty incredible situation and opportunity for both sides to go through. But with the surrogates, I think that, having that responsibility, of the medications and being to the appointments on time, that's something to take into consideration when going into this is, can you make your appointments on time? Do you have reliable transportation? Do you have the ability to give yourself a shot if there's nobody else there? Because you do have to do several weeks of shots and medications. Can you do this? And so that's a huge responsibility to take on and kind of be able to talk through. So go ahead.
I wanted to ask that question. What are the responsibilities of a surrogate? Because you're getting right into that, the responsibility of whomever, but what are their responsibilities to you, April, or to themselves, or how does that work?
So early on, when they first sign up with the agency, their responsibility is to help us get those medical records in, because that is a huge chore. So that's their initial responsibility. So I try to give them, I don't do everything for them. Some agencies do it all. I want to make sure that they have the ability to get up off the couch and go and help find their medical records. How much elbow grease are they willing to put into this journey? How much does it mean to them? And so I make them help me get their records. I give them a couple weeks without me putting in the request usually. And so I kind of give them a couple weeks to see, are they serious about this? And if they are, then we start moving forward. And if they can't obtain their medical records, I definitely start making phone calls and sending emails and start submitting, the paperwork that's necessary, on my end. And then once we obtain those medical records, I make them fill out other additional forms that are pretty long. I make them go through a background check. I make them do several things to see how invested are they. I give them a long checklist after we have our first consultation. And I just kind of sit back and see, how are they going to handle this? Like, are they going to take the initiative, or am I going to have to continue going back to them and saying, hey, don't forget this. Hey, don't forget that. Hey, don't forget this. I can tell the serious ones will get all of their stuff in within a couple days. And then the other ones are kind of just like, meh, they're not really there all the way. And I'm like, well, I think we're going to have to wait on this one to see how serious she's going to be, because I take my position very seriously. And, if you're going into a journey where you're helping somebody have a child, it's not like just working down at 7-Eleven for a little while. It's, a very serious obligation. Granted, it's not a 5-year job that you're going to have, and there's no promotion or anything like that, but you're still putting in a position where you're the main person. So your job as a surrogate needs to make sure that you are taking care of those appointments. You're making sure that you're taking care of those medications, because they have to do their medications on their own. They get a big box of medications. I can sometimes talk to them about, like, okay, so this is how we organize it. I give them suggestions, because there is a ton of medications when you get it. It's kind of overwhelming. And so I'm like, okay, make sure you have your calendar right here that states, what you take every day. And I kind of walk through that process with them. So there's a lot of obligation there for them. I mean, they have to make sure that they do everything by the book. If the doctor says jump, she has to jump. And she has to be willing to jump without questioning, because it's not her. I mean, technically, it's not her baby. So it is her journey, but it's not her baby.
Well, the legal side of me is going blah, 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 because I was like, okay, so is there like some kind of contract where they have to pay the family back if they fall down in their obligations? Because they're out a lot of money for this. And if they get just halfway through the process and decide that they just don't want to do it anymore, or they're not very in tune to taking care of this, I mean, I can see where this could go
early
wrong.
on, they're not in any contract. So early on, the very first appointment that the surrogate gets is once I submit the medical records over to the fertility clinic, and the fertility clinic says, yes, bring her in. We want to examine her. So she goes through a full examination. That appointment can cost up to like $2,300.
Good God. Oh, my
gosh.
gosh.
God.
And so if the surrogate doesn't pass that, if the surrogate just bails and never calls back, those intended parents are out of that money.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
So until the laws are changed to protect the intended parents a bit more, it's just kind of like an adoption. Okay, so here's an example. We met a mother who was pregnant. And
who is Lee?
She came to us.
You and your husband?
A friend.
Is that you and your husband?
Me and
Lee?
my ex-husband.
Okay.
We met her through a mutual friend. She came to us and said, I'm pregnant. I'm 8.5 months pregnant. I want to, there's no way I can keep this baby, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, okay. So we walked through the rest of her pregnancy with her. We helped her with, minor things, but we knew not to get financially invested. However, we have seen people get extremely financially invested in these situations where the car needed to be fixed, so they fixed it, or they needed a car and they gave them a car, or rent needed to be paid and they didn't have the money to pay it. Well, she's about to give you a child. What is $800-900 for rent? So then it snowballs and it snowballs and it snowballs. So then come birth, the day of birth, the birth mom's like, meh, I forgot to tell you I was in labor. I've had the baby and I'm going to keep the baby now. So
where's my
we went only a month and a half or so. So this happened to us a couple times, and we kind of got the first couple times we kind of got screwed financially, but you learn when these people are serious about the situations and when they're not after dealing with it for so long. And we were pretty sure that this one was going to happen. And I mean, we had already invested in buying stuff for like the nursery and, baby stuff. And we knew it was going to be a boy and so on and so forth. And, and then we were kind of SOL. We were out of the money that we had paid for an attorney. We were out of the money that we had paid her for any clothing or expenses. I mean, we were out of everything. So it's kind of the same situation, just different. The intended parents, it's just a risk that you're taking. I mean, and just like if the transfer doesn't take, they're out all of that prepaid money.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah,
how
it's
do
hard.
The laws get changed, April? How do we, as a proactive in this year of change, how do we get those laws changed to protect as many people as possible?
I know that there's several lawyers out here that are fighting to try and get more stricter laws regarding surrogacy. But it's like you want stricter laws, but then again, you don't want stricter laws because it's such a fine line of where you want your laws to be placed, and sometimes you don't have control over that. Sometimes, the political stuff takes over and then it just kind of beats everybody out. So as of right now, I don't know, to be honest.
Wow. Seems like there has to be something for the intended parents, that there has to be some sort of compensation.
Yeah, and on the flip side, there has to be something in place as well for the surrogates to make sure that they're getting paid.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen too, I can't tell you how many times intended parents have gotten pregnant through their surrogate, and then poof, never paid another penny to the agency, never paid another penny to the surrogate. But what's the surrogate supposed to do? Just keep, the baby?
Oh my God.
That's why they put a lot of the money in escrow up front, but a lot of times that doesn't cover 100% of it. So they get what's in escrow, and that's kind of it.
Well, if I were the parents, I would get a promissory note signed by the surrogate that says due upon demand for failure to provide, pregnancy or baby or whatever. I mean, I did this in the bail bond business because we had a lot of laws on where we could sue people for forfeitures of bonds and where we couldn't. And I bypassed all of that by getting that promissory note. And the minute they missed court, I went and filed a lawsuit on the promissory note because it said due upon demand upon forfeiture, and was able to override a lot of that without having to go through and getting all those laws changed. So these lawyers need to be a little smarter about how to do this.
Well, they do. They definitely have contracts in place, and the legal contracts are about 40 to 60 pages. So they're pretty thorough. It just depends on which attorney that you use and stuff. But, it's a contract. If the surrogate doesn't have a penny, most of them come to us without jobs or with very low paying jobs, or, they're all different situations. They don't always have the financial means. Most of them are single moms. They don't have the financial means.
But that could change in 10 years. That could change in 10 years, and they marry some rich dude and he dies and now they're wealthy,
right? And
you got a promissory note for $50,000 that you sued them for, and it's now sitting there just waiting for that lien to be enforced. So they need to come talk to me. I'll help them. Now, seriously, you laugh, but I got a huge check from the Unclaimed Property Department of Texas over a promissory note that I sued, and by the time the interest had collected on that and that there was a lien filed on their estate because of that promissory note, I got 5 times the amount of what the note was because of the interest rate, because it had gone for so long. I had forgotten about it, and when I got notice from the state, I went, oh my God, what the hell is this? So
bonus.
But here's the thing: even if they never paid, and even if it was never collected on, it still implants a monetary value in their head psychologically, of that's hanging over their head, and they'll think twice before they want to renege on their agreement. It's more powerful than a contract. It really is.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go through all the legal steps of suing like you do with a contract, because it says due upon demand.
Right.
So April, are these parents providing a fertilized egg, or do the surrogates sometimes provide an egg?
So a lot of times our surrogates have been egg donors. However, that would be called a traditional surrogacy, where the surrogate uses her own eggs. That is not legal in most states anymore. Just because of the legal issues and such. You rarely, if ever, see traditional surrogacy anymore. At this time, most of them are using either their own genetics or adopted genetics. So you can adopt an embryo, you can also get an egg donor, and you can also get a sperm donor. So it kind of depends on what the family situation is on where those genetics came.
All right, wait a minute.
Yes, it's an embryo when they come to us.
All right, wait a minute. My southern brain just fried out. All right, so an adopted embryo, I go to the embryo bank and say I need to adopt an egg, and I can opt on whether it's fertilized already or not, and then I take that and I put it in somebody else's womb. Mm-hmm. Oh my God! I'm processing this. I had no idea we could do that. No idea.
Yeah, so after I went through IVF, I actually had several embryos left. We did several additional tries afterwards, and they were unsuccessful. So I actually have 4 embryos still frozen. If I wanted to, I could take those 4 embryos and find somebody who needs an embryo. Maybe they had bad eggs, or it was a male factor issue. I could take those embryos and I could find somebody and let them legally adopt my embryo. And they could go and use a surrogate, or they could use that embryo for themselves. And
where do they get the sperm then? Do you?
Well, if it's an embryo, it's already fertilized.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. So there's an egg, and then there's an embryo. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So an egg is pre-fertilized.
Yes.
Well, we've moved a long way from the chicken farm, haven't we, with the little line on the eggshell? Whoa.
Do you want those fried or scrambled?
Yeah. Oh my God. My poor little brain. This is my brain trying to process this.
I'm trying to keep up. I'm going, no way. That's a what?
If an embryo is adopted, does that mean the parents have to formally adopt the infant after it's born?
No. Mm-mm.
That egg belongs to them once they adopt it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So I'm thinking about the DNA now on Ancestry and all the things that could come up and all the different storylines that people will be coming up with over the next 2 or 3 generations. Because we've been doing surrogacy now since the 60s? Maybe?
I think it's been about there, 60s or 70s, something like that.
Didn't get started in the 60s, but it really took off in the 70s because that was like a major event. Anyway,
but they had an embryo festival or something. It says bring your embryo to free freezing for the day.
I was not invited to that. Obviously, I missed that.
I think that was called Woodstock, and I think that a lot of people. I know a lot of kids were born, but I don't know. Yes. I don't think that was surrogacy.
That's the Woodstock generation. Yes. They all have an affinity for wood. I mean, what can we say?
For wet farmland.
Let me ask you this, April. Mm-hmm. Has the obviously COVID has made a big difference in everybody's life. How has that cut into your life with the COVID as far as business?
So we were pretty much shut down through the main portion of COVID. When we were all under house quarantine, simply because the fertility clinics were all closed. It's slowly progressing, getting back on its feet. Clinics are starting to open. However, they have slowed things down quite a bit where they're only doing so many transfers a week or a day or whatever. So we're kind of having to kind of spread things a little bit more thin. But all in all, I think that things are definitely getting back and people are starting to think about wanting to have families again.
Right. Well, I'm sure a lot of people now know they do not want that fertilized egg from that individual. So there's a lot of, going through cleaning out the house, going, oh, I would never raise a child with you ever. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of that just got rid of a whole bunch of, excess baggage. So I think it worked out well, really.
And yet,
So
there are a lot of people that are pregnant now, too.
This is true.
Yeah.
And all those are going to be little Geminis running around. So
Oh, yay, Geminis! Yay, yay!
April, what can we do to help you out, kiddo? What can we do to assist you in letting the word get out about what you're open, and let's go and let's make this happen?
Yeah, right now we really need to start getting some surrogates in. I think ideally what I would really like to see, I know this may sound kind of weird, but I really want to get some lesbian surrogates out there to start helping and start getting more into the LGBTQ community a little bit more. There's a lot of lesbians out there that have had children through IUIs or whatever it may be. And so I think that that's a great opportunity for them to kind of support their community and help other gay couples or just infertile couples and kind of get out there. I would really like to see that happen.
Okay, this is me being
I'll tell you what,
ignorant.
why don't you send me some info in a message, and
Okay.
I'll create an ad for you, and then you can just take it and run with that.
So you want the surrogate mother to be lesbian? I'm sorry, I'm being ignorant, but I'm going to ask questions. I am.
I think that would be fantastic.
Why does that make a difference?
More lesbian surrogates. I think that would be great.
Why does that make a difference for the lesbian couples, though?
One, it would definitely help them financially. A surrogate can make $35,000, $40,000 plus. So I think it would definitely help them. And two, I think that it would just definitely be a good opportunity for them to be a part of the community and kind of help support other gay couples or other infertile couples, because there's a ton of infertile lesbian couples that can't have children. So that's something to kind of keep in the back of their mind just to help the community. Got it.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense. Okay, this is another stupid question, but I can just think of all these different scenarios and possibilities. Do you ever have a biracial couple ask for a biracial surrogate? I mean, is it like going to the ice cream store and picking a flavor?
We definitely have religion preferences. We have racial preferences. We have all different kinds of age preferences. We have all different kinds of preferences. So it's just a kind of matter of bringing everybody together and kind of saying, okay, this is what you want. This is what she is. This is how we are, and bringing, this is a perfect fit. So that's kind of our job.
Wow, I did not realize how complicated and detailed this could be. I would just be worried about their physical health and if they were having mental health issues or physical health issues. That would be the only thing I would even think about. So a whole nother scenario there.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, well, we'll work on this and see if we can't come up with an ad on this to at least put it out on Facebook or whatever, and see if we can't get in touch with the LGBTQ community and let them know that that's what you're looking for.
Right. Absolutely.
And Elizabeth will do it so it will be tasteful. If I did it, it wouldn't be tasteful.
This is true.
It is true.
This is true.
I see too many opportunities for
we're being
jokes.
honest here. It is. It would be. Yeah.
Too many opportunities for jokes.
Yes. So how do people get in touch with you, April? How can we make that happen where people can actually get in touch?
Find us on our website at www.surrogacy.com. Or you can give us a call at 214-551-9198.
And that information is on her little ad that we posted on the Spiritual Neighborhood page and on my page today, and it's on all of my business pages. It's on the YouTube channel, so there's no excuse for you not to find her. Go look for her.
Thank you.
Find it, like it, share it,
Yeah.
pass it on.
Yep.
Throw it around,
Absolutely.
Yep.
please.
Thank you.
Absolutely, seriously.
Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Awesome.
The detail that you're having to pay attention to is just overwhelming to me. Thank God I don't have a womb anymore, because I would probably want to be a surrogate after listening to you.
Oh.
Really.
I like being
And when
pregnant.
that biological clock was ticking, I'm glad you weren't around, because it would have gone off, I'm sure.
Yeah, I loved being pregnant. It was raising kids I hated. Oh my God, I had two of the worst kids in the world. My God, they were spawn of Satan, both of them. So,
You're talking about your genetics.
no. They both look like their fathers. So,
Okay.
you can't see my genetics anywhere.
Once again, the world is safe. Thank you. April, thank you so much. I know you were really busy today. I know the kids were,
Oh, it's fine.
school's
It's
coming
first day
up.
at school for us.
Oh my God.
Good luck. Good
Oh my
luck.
God. So,
Thank you.
Good luck.
so you take care, and I'll get in touch with you, and we'll talk about the ad, and we'll
Sounds
see if
great.
we can at least throw at least a 30-second something out there to at least let people know what
absolutely.
you're looking for. Yeah, you can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thanks
Sounds
so
great.
much.
You ladies have a great day.
You too.
All right, you too. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Goodbye.
All right, okay, I'm letting her out. She's out. Do I need to stop the recording? Oh, crap. Okay, do I need to stop the recording or keep recording? I forgot.
Well, you can leave it on. Keep it on if you want.
Okay. You know what? I got a mantra meditation that she could do for the adopting families. We asked for this. We paid for this. We asked for this. We paid for this. That could be their mantra.
Well, if I had known about surrogacy when I was young, I would have certainly done it.
Well, you know,
You would have been good at it, Luann.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Yeah,
You would have done real well with that.
it would have been so exciting.
I would
to-
not.
I would have
I
been
would
okay
not
with it because it's not my egg. If it had been my egg, I probably could not have done it. I'll be honest. But
Yeah.
since it's not my egg, and it was,
Right.
I probably could have done that because I really did love being pregnant. I did. There
Yeah.
was something. I was like, but you know, I was just like Superwoman during both my pregnancies until the last month, and then the last month was always difficult. But the first 8 were awesome. You know,
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
so. Okay, that's enough. Bye. No.
Well, that
Oh,
was not
and
what I
Anna-
needed. In this lifetime, I did not need that. I had helped populate the species, obviously, in previous lives.
Yeah. So on a lighter note, Elizabeth, you weren't here when I said that I had talked to Audra, and she is interested in talking about a radio show where she's co-host for Talking About
Awesome.
Earth.
Are we going to do
So we're gonna
radio,
talk-
or are we going to do?
Awesome. That's
Are we going to do
fantastic.
this as well? Radio
I think
or video or both?
that we want to try both, but I haven't spoken to her in detail, so I'm not going to make any promises.
Well, I'm going to email her right now and tell her she doesn't do both. My feelings are going to be terribly hurt.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm all about blackmailing people if I have to get.
Do not do that.
Well,
What?
that is in her nature. Remember, that is in her
I
nature.
know.
Blackmail.
Yes.
It is not in my. Where did you get that from?
So I want
You
Audra to
told us
understand
that
that
very
I'm not
beginning.
into blackmail.
I'm into all kinds of males.
I am.
I love all males. See, I'm setting this up for a
I said
joke.
that way too fast, didn't I? I said that really fast. Maybe I should have kind of had a couple of second delay there.
See, I'm setting this up for a joke, and y'all just go to the ugly side. Y'all just go, oh, Deborah, she's a blackmailer. Meh, meh, meh.
What you said? You told us that.
I was
Long time
setting it
ago.
up for a
I
joke.
know about blackmail.
Yeah, y'all are terrible. I need a Don Knotts.
I may have misinterpreted that sentence, but I doubt it.
No, I don't blackmail people. I just tell you, this is what I want, damn it, or I'm going to punch you in the face. I don't need to blackmail people. It's that simple.
No, she resorts to violence. now.
Yes. Violence, yes.
No. I do want to mention our sponsor. And I cleaned out my desk, and I don't know what
Oh
is
my
info.
God.
Jesse,
Let me get it.
where is your info? And if I had it, what would I have done with it? Now that I've said that, and I was so organized, and I am so not now.
Okay, so it's AvWorks LLC, Jesse Averett. His number is 214-906-3787. And he was at my house on and off all last week, so he's probably free this week because I haven't called him.
Yeah, catch him before she gets him again, because if so, you won't see him for a week or so. If you have an issue, do it now. Make sure you get that. The other thing that I do want to mention to our viewers, especially those that knew Dr. Vicki High, she did make her transition last week. Mm-hmm. We didn't really want to discuss too much of it on the show because we knew that the family wanted to keep it private. However, that was announced on one of the sites for Vicki, and I think it was either her niece maybe or sister who had put out the fact that Vicki had brain cancer, and it was a very rapid, it happened extremely fast, it was very debilitating, and so the family wanted to keep that info and Vicki's privacy as private as possible, and all of us are, totally in understanding with that. So just wanted to let you know that we're going to try and put out the last video that Vicki did with us. It was one of the best ones we had. Vicki was extremely funny, but she was totally Texan. And she pretty much just told it as it is. And we will miss her, and we will miss her energy, and we'll miss her friendship and her love, but we know that she's going to be with us. And I have a sneaking suspicion that somehow, some way, that she'll get in touch with those that she really needs to get in touch with. So all is not lost. But Vicki, we love you, we miss you, and safe journeys.
And I
There
think,
you go.
I think that's enough, and we will see you tomorrow. And
All right.
I'll get the video up later. And ditto here, olive juice, Vicki, olive juice. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Hold the door open.
All right.
And then what you said, keep the door open?
Keep the door open.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. I like y'all a lot.
Like you a lot.
Oh, I put up with all of you. I just put up with all of you.
Just put up with all of y'all.
I do.
Okay.